Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about the Seasonal Super Godfest that has just gone live in North America. So, Seasonal Super Godfest are basically just regular Godfest that have additional lineup of seasonal cards. Now, for the most part, many of these top rarity seasonal cards are featured in events that you don't necessarily want to roll in, and the reason for that is because many seasonal events just have underwhelming bottom rarities, or just the rolling rates are just so heavily skewed against you that it's oftentimes I just do my free roll and just pretend it doesn't exist. And for myself as well, I actually acquire most of my seasonal cards through Seasonal Super Godfest because, as you look on the chart on my right-hand side here, it's 11.5% chance for any of the seasonal cards. And these cards, I actually own none of these ones for this particular event, can have meaningful value, but they're also oftentimes difficult to acquire because you may not necessarily want to roll in those events. But in here, you do have the chance of getting a 32% chance of any Godfest exclusive. So the total chance of any good card, so to speak, is 43.5% chance, which is actually quite good. For perspective's sake, a regular Super Godfest at the very worst has 33% chance for a Godfest exclusive. So we're essentially that plus an additional 11.5% chance for seasonal cards. So as a whole, this makes this event reasonably worthwhile from a value point of view because the odds are at least reasonably well in your favor. Like, you could get those seasonal cards, and if you miss them, there's a strong chance of Godfest exclusives. Of course, there are always going to be Pantheons and Sad Rolls regardless of what type of event you're going to be rolling in. So just take that with a grain of salt. So if you are missing many of these seasonal cards, this can be a good event to actually roll in. But at the same time, there is the strong likelihood that Ultraman Collab does come back to North America at some point because it had a rerun, and there's a good chance we will get it again because we've already had this collab at some point in the past, along with the fact that maybe we'll get the 20 Magic Stone Super Godfest that Japan had for their anniversary event. Our timings are quite different, so it's been delayed by quite some time because our anniversary timing is not quite the same. So maybe that comes possibly in a couple of months, but at the same time, this event does look quite promising. It's obviously here right now, so if you do have a larger amount of stones and you feel like you have enough to roll an Ultraman, which is a good chance of coming, maybe you could roll some here, especially if you are missing the seasonal cards. So for myself personally, I feel like I'm going to do actually several rolls. I've got at least multiple hundred stones on each account, so a few rolls is not going to be a bad thing. I don't have any of the seasonal cards. I always can use more Godfest exclusives. So as a whole, this event is reasonably good overall. But with that being said, let me know what you think about this event in the comments down below, along with the fact that we should take a look at the new Godfest exclusive that is actually debuting here. So we have Siren and Lilith. So they basically took two of those old healer girls and just put them together and made a pretty cool Godfest exclusive. I'm curious if they're going to actually do the same with older cards, because remember back in the day we had those 3-star cards in the rare machine. Well, maybe we can take a couple of those, combine them together, and create a new Godfest exclusive. Either way, Lilith and Siren, they are a transforming card with 6 skill boosts in their base form, and then when they transform, they take 31 turns. So with dual leaders, which is pretty ideal, I would say, you have 12 out of your 31 skill boosts. You still have quite a ways to go, but it's at least going to be doable. When you think about it, if you really think about it, if you have, say, double Nautilus, that's 25 turns to transform, 6 skill boosts each, 19 remaining. Similar setup here. You just need 19 more skill boosts across your other cards, but it's not a double transforming card, which in turn eases some aspects there. And when they do transform, it's got triple 10 combo, a super TPA, and when you think about it, on a transforming card, that would be considered completely unnecessary when you really think about it. But with the advent of super gravity dungeons, having cards that have incredible amounts of personal damage multipliers are actually meaningful, because when you think about it, if you were hitting for tiny amounts of damage, you've got to pump those numbers up in some way possible. And in addition to that, they have some enhanced hard orb, super enhanced hard orb, super enhanced dark, and super enhanced water. So those orb types are going to come enhanced, and it's going to help the healing output as well because they have a high RCV stat. Their active skill now on a 2-turn cooldown gives you an attack buff based on the number of enhanced water and dark combo or dark orb awakening. So on your leaders, these should count as 2 each. So 4, that's already 0.8 or 80% increase attack value from your leaders, and there's a chance your subs are going to bring those. So it's quite easy to get an incredibly high attack multiplier potentially from this active skill. And then in addition to that, you make 6 heart orbs over non-water and dark orbs. So 6 heart orbs doesn't technically let you damage things, but their leader's skill requires you to match 2 or more heart combos for their 75% damage reduction with dual leaders. So in theory, as long as there are no excessive locked orbs, you can activate on a regular basis, which is great. And furthermore, their effective health is actually way higher than you would think it would be. They already have 50% damage reduction with each leader, so 75% total with dual leaders. But then in addition to that, they have 5.29 times health for healer type cards. For the most part, we've kind of been somewhat in an era of 16 times effective health is the maximum we've ever seen for most leaders. Like, it's only just recently started seeing leaders that actually have a little bit more effective health. And in the case of Siren and Lilith, they're way higher than 16 times effective health. And they also give auto follow-up attack and bonus combos, so they are a great pairing for themselves when you think about it that way. They have a looping active skill that gives the heart orbs to keep them alive. They can heal back up with relative ease, and they have an incredibly large attack multiplier as well. 576 times is a large number, so big numbers on paper, but the biggest caveat is you need to use healer type cards to actually tap into the health multiplier. Now, because this health multiplier is so high, and due to the fact that we have many type changing weapon assists out there, it's not as difficult to team build for Siren and Lilith, because you can slap on the healer typing addition weapon assist, or if you have at least cards like, say, many of the beach cards I'm using. I was trying to look up cards like many of the beach cards are actually healer type, like Minaka, Yang GFE. I found Tethys as well, Beach Kiri as well, Dantelion. There's quite a few possible healer type cards you could slot on your team, but again, utilizing the healer typing assist can work. Or maybe, if depending on the dungeon you're playing through, maybe 1 or maybe even 2 of your cards are not healer type. And the reason I say that is because your health multiplier is so high already that you kind of compensate for that already. You could lose out a sub or 2 and maybe you'll probably be fine. And remember, it's only the health multiplier that is tied to the healer typing. It doesn't actually matter for their offensive potential. So Wang Yi, the blue card from the Kingdom collab, is a great water sub in general. You can slap him on this team. You could add the healer typing, maybe you don't add the healer typing, but point of the matter is there is at least options for team building, and I'm a big fan of water teams personally, so I'd like to roll this card, but that's just my personal bias overall. But with that being said, do you think it is worth rolling in this event, along with Siren being an exciting card? And with that being said, I will be rolling in this event a bit later on stream, and I will upload the YouTube rolling video at some point in time. Regardless of all that, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.